There it goes. What's going on, everybody? Long time to see. It's been like a week. I know. Basically, a few things happened. One, I don't know, so some of y'all might watch this little thing called the NFL playoffs. I don't know, apparently that's a big thing. No, I'm just kidding. I watch them do. I learned Saturday it's not a good idea to try to post a video during the NFL playoffs because no one's on YouTube listening to your political stuff. Who'd thunk it, right? I mean, come. And of course, Monday, college football championship. There was much waiting and gnashing of teeth on my Facebook page. And I'm sorry, I love you guys. I'm not gonna do that band thing. That's just I feel horrible just saying that. Anyways, for those of you who are following along, we are on part 3 of letter 1 from Hamilton. Thus far, he's pretty much explained to us two sides of the coin: the people who fear overzealous federal government, and the people who believe that a federal government is the absolute answer. Those are the two coins, and the two sides of the coin, and he's explained how things be portrayed and all this kind of stuff. And again, this introductory letter has been nothing but a massive reminder that the things we face in this country today are the same things they were facing in this country back in the 1780s, almost 1790s. This is the reality of what they were facing. It's the same reality that we face today. So, finishing up here, this is his wind down. This is his opinion on things. And it's kind of a summary of everything that's going on. It's actually really well written. So, here we go. Of course, it's well written. All of it's well written. From Hamilton, all of it's well written. We'll get into the rest of that later. In the course of the preceding observations, I have had an eye, my fellow citizens, put you upon your guard against all attempts, from whatever quarter, to influence your decision in the matter of the utmost moment of your welfare by any impressions other than those which may result from the evidence of truth. You will, no doubt, at the same time, have collected from the general scope of them that they proceed from a source not unfriendly to the new Constitution. Essentially, I've taken the time to warn you of the things that are going on and how both sides could come across as friendly to the Constitution. Also, that my opinion is friendly to the new Constitution, which is before my viewpoints. My stance is friendly to the new Constitution. Yes, my countrymen, I owe you that after having given intended consideration, I am clearly of opinion it is your interest to adopt it being the Constitution. I am convinced that this is the safest course for your liberty, your dignity, and your happiness. I affect not reserves which I do not feel. I will not amuse you in appearance of deliberation when I have decided. I frankly acknowledge to you my convictions, and I will freely lay before you the reasons of which they are founded. The consciousness of good intentions disdains ambiguity. I don't know why I struggle with that word. That's not hard word. I know what that is. Anyways, I shall not, however, multiply professions on this head. My motives. Yes, you may. Parenting in the 21st century. I love it. I shall not, however, multiply professions on this head. My motives must remain in a depository of my own breast. My arguments will be open to all and may be judged by all. They shall at least be offered in a spirit which will not disgrace the cause of truth. I am being completely open and honest with you. This is how I feel. I'm not going to double talk. I'm not going to let you think I'm still kind of tossing things around in my head when I've already made my decision. I'm not doing that kind of stuff. I'm going to be open straight with you guys so that you guys know where I'm coming from, so that you guys know what's on my heart, and so that the logical conclusions of why I am here are laid open to be judged so that you can make a decision as to what's going on. I propose in a series of papers to discuss the following interesting particulars. Now, this is all in italics, which is a visual draw, so we're understanding that this is the paramount right here. This is the point of the series of papers, the Federalist Papers. The unity of the Union to your political prosperity, the insufficiency of the present Confederation to preserve that Union, the necessity of a government at least equally energetic with the one proposed to the attainment of this object, the conformity of the proposed Constitution to true principles of Republican government. Now, this right here does not mean the Republican Party. The Republican Party, today did not exist back then. For those of you who are very lax in your following of government history, our party, the Republican Party, did not exist back then. The party that we know today did not exist back then. When he said Republican government, he means specifically a republic. In this particular case, a constitutional republic, not a democracy. Again, I think it's the second time I said this in this first letter. We're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic. There's a huge difference, and you need research. It's analogy to your own state constitution. How well does it follow along with your own state's constitution, your own state's laws? How can they work hand in hand? And lastly, the additional security which its adaptation will afford the preservation of that species of government to liberty and to prosperity. Now, a lot of people, a friend of mine has recently sent me, a very good friend of mine, thank you kind for this, the Anti-Federalist Papers, which I was not aware were quite so popular. I've heard a lot of arguments against the Federalist Papers, and thus far, I will openly admit, just skimmed. This week I'm going to take some time to read more in depth. A lot of the arguments to these kind of things, but one of those is that this is an outward, that the Federalist Papers. Now, I don't want to say it because I haven't quite read too far into it, but one of the arguments here against the Federalist Papers, which I think will, as I read more in depth, stem from the Anti-Federalist Papers, is that this set up for an overbearing federal government. Well, that was never the intention of what's being discussed here. Listen to what he's saying. It's an analogy to your own state constitution, and lastly, the additional security which its adaptation will afford to the preservation of that species of government, constitutional republic, the liberty and property. How can you make this work to protect a constitutional republic that preserves your liberties and your property? He's not talking about taking away power from the people and giving it to the federal government. He's talking about making a way for the states to have a unified government so that everything works cohesively and so that our rights as the people are protected and our property is protected, and yet we have a cohesive government. That's what he's talking about. Take it literally. My brain works very, very good with literal for reasons recently discovered. But the reality is, take what he's saying literally. In progress of this discussion, I shall endeavor to give a satisfactory answer to all the objections which shall have made their appearance that may seem to have any claim to your attention. Anything important that's come up, legitimate arguments against the constitutional republic, and as we'll proceed through this, we'll find out that the burning thoughts of a Bill of Rights to protect our way of life. Anything that make you doubt that this is a good idea, we're going to address, we're going to talk about it, we're going to bounce back and forth. And they do. I mean, they talk about everything from the militia taxes to logistics. I mean, it's covered in here. This handle it. It may perhaps be thought superfluous to offer arguments to prove the utility of the Union, a point, no doubt, deeply engraved on the hearts of the great body of the people of every state, and one which, it may be imagined, has no adversaries. But the fact is that we already hear whispered in private circles of those who oppose this new Constitution that 13 states are of too great extent for any general system, and that we must of necessity resort to separate confederacies of distinct portions of the wholes. People are saying it's too much territory, there's too many people, we can't have one single unified government, we need to break in groups that have more common interests in alignment than opposing interests. This group of states needs to be its own confederacy, this group of states needs to be its own confederacy, so on and so forth. At the time, if I'm remembering right, there were 5, maybe 6 groups of states that are talking about. It was the general idea. This needs to be its own country, this needs to be its own country, this. It's kind of all the way down the coast, was the idea. Let's see. This doctrine will, in all probability, be gradually propagated until it has votaries enough to countenance an open avowal of it. What does it mean? It means people are going to talk about it enough until there's enough people who would say they would vote for it to be openly discussed. Let's see here. For nothing can be more evident to those who are able to take an enlarged view of the subject than the alternative of an adoption of new constitution or dismemberment of the Union. It will therefore be of use to begin by examining the advantages of that union, the certain evils. He's not saying it's a sure thing. There are evils that we have to protect against in this form of government, and the probable dangers which every state will be exposed from its dissolution. This shall accordingly constitute the subject of my next address. Now, this is the end of Hanson's first letter. So what is he saying we need to discuss in order to attain these points that were in italics earlier? It will therefore be of use to begin by examining the advantages of that union, the certain evils, and the probable dangers to which every state will be exposed from its dissolution. There's your 3 things. We need to discuss these. Now, I did realize that I did take something out of context by accident. He's saying the advantages, the certain evils, and probable dangers to which every state will be exposed from its dissolution. Now, this is where your commas, understanding your commas come down. He wasn't breaking those down. He wasn't breaking those down into 3 general. He was breaking down the 3 dangers of the disillusionment, the 3 separate things of disillusionment, the dissolving, dissolution rather, not disillusionment, totally different word. Exposed from the dissolution of the union. If we break down, yeah, there could be some advantages, yeah, there will be certain evils, and yes, there will be dangers that every state will face. I apologize, I'm not on top of my game today. I'm a little out of practice. I have to take a week off. So that's pretty much where we're at right now. That's just it. That's the introduction. That's just the introduction. A lot of content there. Now, things are going to slow down a little bit as far as the content goes. The next 1, 2, 3, 4. Next 4 letters. Letters 2, 3, 4, and 5 are all from J. John Jay. I've told you my opinion of John Jay's writing. He uses a lot of words to get to one point, and it's gonna be slow. In the course of 1 to 2 letters, we'll get out as much actual useful content out of it as we did in 1/3 of Letter from Hamilton. It's just not fun. I'm sorry, but it is important. It is extremely important. Don't take my dislike for the way Hamilton does his writing as a scream that isn't important, as we try and say, it doesn't matter, because it does matter, but it's just not fun. So that's the reality of the situation. Now, I've got a few minutes left here. I'm trying to get these down to 15 minutes up. I know they've been more like 20, but if you're done with the letters, that's great. That's the end of that. I'm going to move on to a little situation that has happened here as of recently. We have a lot of infighting going on in the Republican Party right now, Republican nomination. A lot of this guy's not eligible, or that guy's not eligible, or this guy's the only hope, or this guy's a Democrat shill. He has no interest in actually following through with the things that he's saying. All this kind of thing. You know what? To an extent, everybody's right, and to an extent, everybody's wrong. You can't have one way without the other. The fact of the matter is, if you're looking for a perfect candidate, you're never going to find one. I always said, show me a candidate that I agree with 100% of the time, and I'm looking in a mirror. That's the truth of the matter. However, our measure for how we rate someone to be qualified as the president needs to be their willingness to abide by the Constitution of the United States. That is what we need to keep in mind. You might sit here and go, yeah, Trump is great, he's going to say this, that, and the other, he's going to do this, that, and the other. That is great. Except that he can't constitutionally do the things that he's trying to do. There are things that he wants to do, that he wants to implement, that he wants to go about, that he will not go through Congress to accomplish. He violates the Constitution just as heavily as Obama has violated the Constitution. The only difference is you agree with the ends. It is the means that we must be worried about here. If he can't follow the Constitution, he's no better than Obama. He's still trampling the Constitution. Bear that in mind. Something to consider. Cruz Rubio. By definition, by the same definition of no, definition's terrible. By the same interpretation of whether or not Obama's birthplace and birth certificate and all this kind of thing make him eligible or ineligible, it also calls into question is Cruz Rubio eligible or ineligible. I understand that the immediate argument for the situation is, oh, Obama already did it, so we can do it too. Look at that. That isn't the point. The point isn't they've already violated this, we can now violate it. That's not how we need to be going about this. What we need to be going about is reinstating the Constitution as the law of the land. None of these guys can do that, in my opinion. That's where I fall down. That's where my opinion falls at. None of these guys can do that. None of them. Of, by, and for the people is gone. And if we want to ensure that there's a way that it is reinstated, there's only one absolute guarantee, and that is the Second Amendment. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people view it as a radical viewpoint to have towards the situation at hand. I don't care. That's why the Second Amendment is where it is, and why it's written the way it is, and why the comment is there. That is the fact of the matter. That is why we have the Second Amendment. And that is what's going through. We have an out-of-control federal government that's done some really underhand deeds right now. Look at boats captured by Iran. There's no way. When you start picking apart the individual facts, the individual versions that the official statement puts out, no, that's not possible. What they say happened could not have happened. It is impossible. How far off course they were, the way the tides and the currents were working at the time, the course of actions that they say were taken, this, that, and the other, it was not possible. something underhand has gone down yet again. And so many people are just dismissing it as, oh, they had engine problems or they were disabled. Explain to me what disables the entire, but their weapon systems weren't working. Really? Come on. Don't give that crap. We're in very, very trying times. We're in a very, very deep hole. There's no other way to describe it. We've dug ourselves into an extremely deep hole. And we have to figure out how we're going to get out of it. And politicians are not the answer. Now, I know your argument is, Trump's a politician. Yeah, he is. Trump is a career politician. He's just never been paid for it. It's just a very, very, very trying area we are in, which is why learning what was intended in newspapers and in Jefferson letters and so many other places, why this stuff is so important. If we don't know this, we don't have context. If we don't have context, even if we take back our country, which I believe we will, where do we go from here? We're taking it back, now what? Now we fall into the same ruts, the same stupid arguments, same deliberations that we're having already today. Unless we know what is in this, unless we know context, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. Alright guys, that is it for me. I'm done. Soapbox over. It's down. It actually probably crushed under my weight. Sorry. That's how it works. I'll probably be back online this weekend. Maybe another video. No, playoffs are still going on. What am I talking about? That would be redundant, wouldn't it? So yeah, it'll probably be early next week. I'll pop in. I've got Monday off. Woohoo! Full holiday. That's a whole different. We're not even gonna get it. So that's it. You guys will see me in here next couple days. We'll start busting open Jay's first letters. Some important stuff in here. It just takes a little bit longer to get to between the grandeur of his writing. So that is it. You guys be safe. Have a good weekend. Hope teams count on top of the NFL playoffs. Can't say that I necessarily have teams not following the NFL so much, but go Broncos. That's how it is. So take good care. Be safe.